morning, everybody. I've been sitting out here since 8 o'clock in shorts and t-shirts. This is the summer, and I hope it's gonna be great like last year. I asked on my YouTube channel what kind of video you would like me to make. A new song, or a talk from my heart, or a talk about how to build your self-esteem. And I'm gonna listen to you because most of you pushed. You want a video about self-esteem. So this is a video about what tools I used. So I have a neighbor passing by with a child in a, what is it called, roller. I'm just waiting for it to pass. My dog runs back and forth on the fence trying to get people's attention. She just wants to talk with them. Anyway, she's gone now. Now there's a car coming. This video is gonna be with the tools that I used, and to make it a little more clear, I want to share a little background story. And I'm sorry for my I'm not totally fluent in English, and there's a lot of words I don't even know, that I know in Danish that I don't know in English, but anyway, here goes. Many years ago, I was like most of the people are today, you know, don't care about anything, don't have a conscience, didn't have a consciousness about that there's consequences with all actions. I didn't believe in karma, I didn't have a belief, I didn't pray, I didn't meditate. I would call it I was in my own slow suicide. And it all started with that, like, I had enough. Like Carolyn says in her videos, that forgiveness is the initiation to your spiritual development, to your actually giving up, let go and let God. I'm a educated drug counselor, and in that education, where I was educating myself, there was a lot of books we had to read, and some of them were Carolyn Mace's books. It was John Bradshaw's Finding Your Inner Child, Understanding Yourself as an Adult. And the most important for me was a book called, the author was Melody Beattie, Codependency No More. It was like my life was filled up with a lot of negative stuff, a lot of painful stuff, a lot of things I couldn't get over. I was like having a grudge. My girlfriend died when she was 39. I lost her after 10 years with her. My mom died, my dad died. The government was behaving like shit, like they still do. The police, the politicians, and it was like I was getting buried under all this stuff, and I was trying to scream and shout and making posts and recording and throwing the truth into people's faces, and I was I've been out working mostly for the government, but also as a furniture maker. I'm an educated furniture maker too. But I kept on skipping those jobs, either skipping them or get fired, uh, because people were not ready and are still not ready for the truth. They would rather live on an illusion. Um, and I was living on an illusion too. And I remember the turning point for me was a day I was living in Copenhagen at this time, and I think I had a mental breakdown because I was sitting in my shower crying. At that time, I was crying a lot over things that was painful to me, I I I hated my tears running down my cheeks, that I could feel it. So I was sitting under the shower and I was like, oh this and oh that and oh why should this happen and why is it so hard and blah 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 blah. I was like soaking in negativity and despair and no hope, and this was the first time I actually heard, either it was God's voice or it was my inner voice, my guardian angels or whatever, but there was a voice that said to me, I'm proud of you. What are you proud of? And I started crying and stopped crying, and I was thinking, and I started to think about all these things that I'm actually good at. And it changed everything for me. And at that time I've just seen a video with Colin Mees about initiation of forgiveness. And I just know I saw it later. I don't know. Anyway, I was like, okay, I have to forgive all this because this is draining me. this is this is killing me slowly, that I can't do anything about these things. And this is 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. And I remember I just had an experience with, um, I'm sorry for telling you all these personal stories, but these are the backgrounds for me actually changing and starting to find myself and being able to see things honestly and see the purpose of my life. So I have to tell you a little about myself. Um, Suddenly there was a ding dong on my door, and I went out and I went down to open the door, and there was a woman standing there, and she was like, "Do you know Helmut?" That was my neighbor's name. Where Helmut is? And I said, "No." Oh, she hasn't seen him for 3 weeks in the bodega. I don't know where they drink beers. Uh, and I said, "No, I don't know where he is." And she said, "Can we please go up to his apartment and knock on his door?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, come in." And we went up knocking on the door, and there was no answer. And I sat down and opened the mail slot, and I could see this man lying on his couch, totally blowed up like a balloon, and red and blue, and there was sewing body fluid out on the floor. And I stood up and I was like shaking, choking. And I said to her, "He's dead." And she said, "No, that's not true." And she bent over and looked into the mail slot too, and she started to cry. And I said, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say, but he's gone." And we went into my apartment and we called the police, and the police came. No, that's wrong. I called the police when we were looking at the door, and the police asked me, "Can you please break down the door, push it down with your foot?" And I said, "Yeah." I had lived in that apartment, so I know there were three locks, and if he has locked all three, I wasn't gonna be able to get in. But I started banging on the door, and suddenly it just popped up, and I fell into the apartment, and I was very close to this man lying on his couch, half floor. And I just ran out, and there were flies everywhere and a bad smell. And I ran out and I closed the door and I said yes to the police. He is dead, trust me. And we went into my apartment, and the police came and they saw this, and they called the ambulance or whatever they're called to come get the dead man. And we were sitting on the couch, and this woman was crying really bad. And I remember this woman, policeman, come into my living room and standing in the door, and she's asking, is there something I can help you with? And I said, yes, maybe you can sit down and talk a little, because that's actually all she needs right now. No, she don't have time for that. We could call the social service and ask for help. And I just said, can you please get out of my home now, right now, just get out. So I threw the police out of my home, and this woman walked away again, I think over to the bodega and started drinking again. And I was sitting in my apartment, and I could hear people that lived in this, that we were 6 apartments, and I could hear people coming in and out of the door, and they were like one scream after another. And I went out and I said, what's happening? We just came in and this door opened and we saw this dead man. And I looked out, and the police were sitting in their cars with smoking cigarette out the window, and I could just feel this madness. I was so I was so mad, not madness. I was so mad that they didn't like shut down the door with tape or whatever. And I went out to them and I said, okay, I'm going to go in now and take some gaffer tape and just make the door shut, because I don't think it's okay for all these neighbors to see this dead man. I think it's so irresponsible and disrespectful of you as a policeman to haven't thought about this. So I went in and I shut the door down, closed, and after a while the ambulance came and took out the dead man. And I remember I was sitting in my apartment and I was so angry at the system. I could feel myself getting drained. And and why I'm telling this example is because maybe you went through something similar, or other things that is draining you. And this is my point. We have to stop draining ourselves, because I allowed this. Uh, so I remember I fought, and this was a couple of weeks after my crying on the toilet episode. And I fell down on my knees and I folded my hands and I said, dear God, I forgive the police, I forgive the government, I forgive the politicians, I forgive my mom and dad, I forgive my girlfriend, I forgive all people that have hurt me, I forgive everything and everybody. And I'm telling you, this feeling I got, it was like this torch was like light turning on, and just there was pouring down, and I get God's grace running through me right now. All my hairs are standing. And it was like this, I was filled up with energy. Um, it was like all my life force was coming back to me. Um, and this feeling of getting filled up um, is something that I use every day. I ask for God's grace to run through me in the night when I go to sleep. I ask that He will work with me and take away the things I don't need and fill me up with the things I miss. My point is that I let go of all the negative stuff. I didn't want it to be a part of me anymore, because it was not helping me, it was actually destroying me. So that realization to actually forgive everything, everybody, every day, all the time, no matter what, has kept me so full of energy. It was like in the next couple of months after, I was like walking on clouds. I was not. It was like a big burden was lifted off my shoulders. Forgiveness is everything. Trust me, forgiveness is easy. It is a present to you. But you're not gonna see that present before after you have forgiven. Um, and I started writing more songs. I started writing more. I started making posts. I started making slogans. All these hits, intuitive hits, the truth thrown at me in a split second. It was like I was ready. Um, and that was my beginning. And now let me get to those tools I'm talking about, because there are several tools that I've been used and still using. Um, the biggest tool, the most important tool for building your self-esteem. Self-esteem is the ability to trust yourself. Is the ability to not seeking confirmation of that you are okay as you are, that you believe, that you feel that you're okay, um, that you don't need anyone's confirmation about how and who and when you are. Um, I wrote down this line on a piece of paper. I don't love myself when dot. And then I sat looking at this paper and I wrote down the most obvious. When you bite your nail, when you smoke weed, when you steal, when you lie, when you put people down because you're feeling so bad about yourself. It's like, sorry for my language, it's like pissing your pants. It helps for 5 minutes and then you feel bad again. That's why all these people that put people down do it again and again and again and again. Um, I wrote down all the things. I had about 40 to 50 things, 47, I can't remember the exact number. I had a lot of things I didn't like about myself. And I just, like Carolyn Mason and a lot of other people says, inner demons, character defects, uh, reaction patterns, action patterns, survival instincts. I just put them to sleep. I work with it, and yes, I fall off the horse many times, but I get back on the horse. And that was one of the tools that I actually used. I made this paper, and it helped me acknowledge and realize and see the things I had to change to start changing and to start loving myself. Uh, the other tool I used was I made this thing called a God box. I took a little shoe box from shoes, and I called it a God box. And all the things that were in my head that I was thinking about that I couldn't do anything about anyway right now, I wrote down on a piece of paper, and I filled up this box with all kinds of things that were messing up my head, controlling me, uh, darkness trying to lead me out the wrong way. For me, everything right now, in this moment, and for the rest of my life, I look at things black and white. I know there's a lot of colors. I look at things as good and bad, evil and good and light and darkness, and I have to choose when I feel. No, I don't have to choose. I get a feeling and then it goes to either one side or the other side. It's very, very easy for me right now, and it makes my life so easy. And then this box with all these notes. One time, um, once a month, I opened the box and I went through all these papers. And if I could still feel the angerness sadness or the despair bubbling inside of me, I put the paper back in the box because God needed to work some more with that. But eventually more and more papers popped up and I was like, was I like that? And I laughed and I could take that paper and throw it out because I have dealt with that. A God box. Then I started to realize that I needed some kind of spiritual practice. I need to like all the what we call them, Jesus, Buddha, Magdalena, all these people that we look up to today and we read what they wrote. They all talk about they had some kind of spiritual practice. And for me, my spiritual practice was to, first of all, move away from Copenhagen. Move away from the big city where everything is running in second gear. Nobody smiles, nobody cares. Everybody is stealing and cheating, and I have to move away from that because it was like I was in my bubble of God's grace, but I was being bombarded. And this was a choice I made. I moved here to this old farm, all away from the big town, in the country, no neighbors, um, and it has given me such peace inside, tranquility, I think it's called, ecstasy, a kind of feeling that it fills me up every day, that I can go outside here and sit in the sun. It's a present. It's so lovely. Um, I read a lot of spiritual books. Right now I'm reading a book called The Castle of the Soul of Teresa of Avila, a nun from the 1500s. Um, it's a great book. I started reading books. I remember I went into this bookstore in Copenhagen called Book and Mystic. And I came into the shop and this woman that owned the shop, she came and she said, "Can I help you with something?" I said, "No. The book that I need to read is going to fall out of the shelf down on the floor." And the funny thing is, two books fell out of the shelf. One of them was called Jesus, a really big one, a green book, and another one was how to read auras. I have seen this light show around every living thing all my life, and I didn't understand it, so I wanted to know it. And maybe unconsciously, this was my biggest desires because those two books fell out, and I bought them and I've read them. Actually, read them several times because you read them one time and you get something, and other things confuses you. Then maybe you read them again, half 1 year later, and you get some more. And it is called evolution, your own development of your own self. What I actually started to do was I was starting to listening to me, not to what people said, not to what commercials said, not what TV said, not what government said, not what politicians said. No, I was starting to listening to me, what my needs were. And also in my spiritual practice, I bought a dog. I've had dogs for many years before, but before I moved here, I didn't have a dog. And the reason I bought the dog, and especially this Alaska Malamute, she never barks. She has a mind that is so loving. She's been approved as an assistant dog, so we go out to old folks' home and we go out to kindergartens to teach children how to act around dogs, so they don't get bitten. So many times the parents are scared of dogs, and that scareness they move over to the children. And I think it's so horrible because nobody should be afraid of animals or dogs. There are aggressive dogs, but that is not the dog's fault. That is the dog owner's fault. Um, and I'm starting to use nature a lot, walking with my dog. I walk about 10 kilometers every day, 2, 3 walks every day. Um, what are the tools? I started praying. I don't know much about prayers. I don't know, like Carolyn says, all my clients ask me, can you please tell me a prayer that works? Uh, for me, I still find it hard to pray, uh, but I do it, and I can do it for sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes hours. It's like my whole life is one big prayer. It's like I've changed from filling myself up with all bad things and all negative stuff and only seeing all the bad, and I was attracting that. And after I changed so dramatically, I was only attracting all the goodness. I only saw, no, I was not only attracting goodness, because the funny thing about starting to walk in the light is the more light is within you and you pour out to other people, the more the darkness are being attracted by it. So, uh, but because I'm living in God's grace, and because I don't notice these negative things anymore, I'm not looking for it. I'm actually looking for only good things, beautiful things, and I'm filling myself up with peace and love and share and care. And it has changed me completely. And let me think for a second. There were some other tools. I was thinking when I was wanting to make this video that I should find all the tools and write them down to a paper so I can remember them. What other tools do I use? I meditate. And meditation for me is not sitting down with my crossed legs and be still because it hurts my back. Meditation for me is just being quiet, listening to the silence. I remember before I started a spiritual life, I remember that every time I got this, everything got quiet in my head. I didn't have a thought, and I was like, oh, I have to think about something. I couldn't handle that stillness. And today I know that the stillness is what I need. The stillness is where I hear God best. The stillness is where I feel calm. In the stillness, I fill myself up with I let myself be filled up with the energy surrounding me, God's grace. Uh, so now I just enjoy it. And one of my big hurdles, one of my big problems today is when I talk very, not slowly, but I talk with my heart. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not like a speed talker that just keeps on going and don't think about it. I'm not all up in my head. I have taken my ego, my brain, and sent it on vacation and said, don't come back. I don't need you. You're ruining everything for me. Whenever my ego is trying to make my day, uh, doing the decisions, it goes wrong. But whenever I'm in my heart, I can stay humble in every situation. And because I talk with my heart, and because sometimes in a sentence I like take a break because I'm like getting hits of what I should say, people interrupt me. And I get so sad, and I tell them, you know what, it is so disrespectful to interrupt people. Uh, just because you're living in second gear and you're used to this speed talking doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean that it's good for you. And you have to respect me as a human being, as a living thing, and as a person. And if you want to get close to me, give me time to say what's on my mind. Let me breathe between sentences. And if I take a little break, give me time, maybe there's something more coming. Um, when I have clients, I actually let them talk and talk and talk, and it's like this waterfall when they start talking, and I let them talk for about 45 minutes, and then I stop them and say, okay, this is what I hear you say. The things you do that makes you feel bad, are you willing to let go of that to start feeling better, to start healing? And I like turn it around from woundology, talking about wounds, to actually looking for solution. I'm a solution focused man. I've been told so many times, how come whatever I ask you, you have the solution for? And I said, because this is how I am. I'm a solution focused man. I don't see problems. Uh, I see said things that I can ask for help, get answers, and then present the solution, either for myself or for other people. And a lot of people have been so grateful because I give them solutions. And again, a lot of people get angry. And when, for example, all the work I do as a spiritual guide, as a mentor, in all my teachings, I give people solutions. I show them the way they should try to go and see if it makes any difference. I show them books, I guide them to videos, exercises. Uh, I'm an educated shrink, and I can, if I would, but I won't, listen to all their wounds. But in my opinion, if a wound has to heal, you have to give it peace. Any kind of wound, mentally, physically, spiritually. Uh, if a wound has to heal, you have to give it peace. That means don't talk about it, don't think about it. Let go of it and let God. Seek forgiveness. Uh, and you know that voice I was talking about that talked to me in the toilet? This voice, the last 10 years, has spoken to me more and more and more. And it speaks to me especially just before I fall to sleep. When I'm in my bed and I'm lying half awake, half asleep, it's like it can reach me better. And I've learned that if I get an intuitive hit, if I get spoken to, if I get a suggestion, I do it. And I do it in the second I get the suggestion. And why I'm saying this is because in this period over 10 years where I've heard this voice, I have many times just, especially in bed, said, okay, I'll do it tomorrow, I'm too tired now. But the problem is tomorrow, then it's gone. I've forgotten it. It's like when you dream, if you don't sit down and you write down your dreams or talk to a microphone or whatever, you're going to lose uh, because it's so fragile. I think I would use the word fragile. And I can give you one example. I have a song that's called You Already There. And this is I call it intuitive music. I was laying in bed and this voice said, get up, Sean, grab your guitar and start playing. Don't think about what you play or how you play, I'll take care of that. And I just got up, took my guitar, turned on the microphone and started playing. And I wrote the most, no, I didn't write it. I channeled it. The most beautiful country number uh, with a lot of universal truth in it, with a lot of help and guidance. Uh, and I feel that this is my purpose on earth, to be a tool for the divine. Use me in any way you see fit. Um, and I realized when we talk about good and bad, evil and God, I realized the more that I got belief in my system, the more I believed in God, the more I prayed, the more I meditated, the more I spent spiritual practicing, and the more I disconnected from the outer world, the bigger the shield against darkness, the thicker the shield against darkness, where nothing can hit me today, nothing can disturb me, nothing can break me down, nothing. I read somewhere that the only shield you have against darkness is prayers and belief. And I 100% believe that today. Um, I have all my life known that whatever you put in your body is how you feel. If you drink Coca-Cola, eat pizza, sit on the couch, playing computer all day, like I did for 7 years, that gave me 3 discs prolapse. I don't know what the English word is. I have a bad back, and I have to do exercises every day. I still have days where I'm in pain, but oh, I forgot what I was talking about. I'm sorry, guys. I got tired of shaving, so now I'm just gonna let it grow. I want this big beard. I don't know if I can get it, but I'm gonna try. Yeah, nothing gets through to me anymore. I get attacks, both on Facebook, on YouTube, on comments, on people I meet on the street, and I have to tell everybody all the time, I love God, but I have no respect for religion. I hate religion. Because I actually realized that religion is dying. Religion as we know it, all the different beliefs, Christianity, Muslims, Buddhism, all these different ways are gonna die. Um, I remember a long time ago I was thinking, okay, why is the whole world fighting when it comes to the belief of God? Why are they fighting so? And I had to find that answer, so I sat down and I read the Bible, I read the Quran, and I read a lot of Buddhist scripts, the C books, I can't remember what it's called in English. And I came to that conclusion that the world is all fighting about this powerful, loving energy, because they all say, mine is better than yours, my God is better than yours. And there are so many names for God. And the funny thing is, I was seeing a video yesterday, and it just like hit me. Yes, God has many names. God are in every one of us. God are in everything. God is all around us. But to monopolize God, to be the one true religion, that is what is dying. I remember Pope France, he said, to go to the church to find God is outdated. You can just as well just go into the woods or do whatever you like, sewing, singing, playing. Just do what you love and do it some more, and you'll find God in that. And it was like a comfort. I love the churches, trust me, I love God's house. Um, and I remember I used 1.5 year driving around in all of Denmark and asking those 2,700 priests. Uh, this was one of my insights. This was one of my intuitive hits. God said, you have to ask all the priests in Denmark three things. What are God's grace? What are soul food? How to invite God's grace into your life? So I spent 1.5 year driving around, visiting all the churches, hearing their sermon, asking the people how they felt about the sermon, and they all said, I got more confused than I came. All I wanted was to get to know God, how to find God, what is God. And I said, I understand you, and I just stand back in the line and waited for the people to shake the minister's, the priest's hand. That's how we do it here in Denmark, that the priest, when the sermon is over, the priest goes out to the door and he stands there and shakes everybody's hands and takes this thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for nothing, in my opinion. And then I wait till all the people are finished and I go up to the priest and I say, thank you for your sermon. It was very confusing. And he or she says, why? And I says, let me ask you some questions as an answer to your question why it was confusing. What is God's grace? What is soul food? And how do you invite God's grace into your life? None of these 2,700 priests knew the answers. None of them. They all said, I don't know. And I said to them, like I wanted to serve the truth to them, and I said, and you don't understand that your churches are empty. You stand up there, you read this black book that is full of confusion and lies, and you talk about politics, you talk about Facebook, you talk about your personal life, you talk about a lot of different things, news, and all the bad things that are happening in the world, and blah, 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 and then maybe you take a quote from the Bible and you read that up and blah, blah, blah. Listen, my good man, girl, woman, you haven't had a godly experience. You haven't been touched by God. How can you teach people what to do, how to look for it, how to get it into their lives, tell them what to change, if you're not the walking example, if you're not doing these things yourself, if you're not getting spiritual experiences, how are you going to teach this in God's house? And most of them just ignored me and didn't say anything, but this experience just told me that, and that is why I don't come to churches. I come to churches, but not when there's a sermon. I come there when it's empty. I come there to pray, I come there to look at the lovely place, the house, the church, and to feel God's grace, because God is in the church, but not when he's doing sermon. Like I say, religion is when God leaves the room. And now Notre Dame burned down. And when you look at all these people making different posts about we're going into a new era and blah, 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 this is a sign from God, in my belief, that this is the ending of the religions. As I can understand it, it was some under construction workers, maybe their fault that the church burned. But I see it like, okay, here's a sign you can understand. I'm going to burn down all the churches, or at least Notre Dame, one of the biggest churches most acknowledged churches in Europe. I see it as this is the start of something beautiful. And I realize, both because I get about 2 to 3 subscribers per day, I realize that people are hungry for more. And like Carolyn May says, it is written in your DNA, the recipe for your life. You have just forgotten it. And one day you're going to be fed up with your own behavior, that you're going to look for something different. And this is what is happening right now. People are getting fed up. They can see it's not working. They can see all the problem it gives. Maybe they have children they want to change for and for themselves, but do what you love. Do it some more. Keep doing it. If you have a work that drains you, quit it. Find another work. You deserve better. Forgive everybody and everything every day, because they don't know any better. And it is not worth of you losing your precious energy too. If you don't like where you live, move. To change is a decision. The change is the way to find what you're looking for. And all, as like many of these big people say, the answer is inside of you. I didn't understand it in the beginning, but now I do. Because what brought me here to being able to sit and talk to a camera, to talk to you, is me killing my inner demons, is me looking truthful at the world, is me understanding what needs to change. And I really hope you understand deep in your heart, I love God. God is what saved me. I love God. But I have no respect for religion. I see what it does to people. All their rules and all, I'm the best, I'm the biggest, and no, come on, we are all one. What you do to one, you do to everybody. This is something Carolyn says all the time. What you do to one, you do to all. And I understand that. When I have these talks with clients, and I realized many years ago that when God is working through me, helping these people, I do it for free. Why? Because I want to keep loving myself. I have self-respect. I have my self-esteem. And I know there are holy consequences to, like, ask for money for another's, for God's work. That's not okay. I'm educated several things, and within those areas, I have no problem taking money. Masseuse, fixing people's computers, fixing their furniture. And when I have a client, for example, that comes to me and said, "Oh, I want to tell you," and they start pouring out the woundology, I said to them, "Listen, before you get started with all the pain and all the experiences and all that you are suffering from, I will tell you this. I'm not interested in listening to all your pain, all your wounds. I can, and it will cost you 700 crowns per hour. But I'm not interested in that, because I know what it does to me. I would much rather talk about what you need to change to start feeling better, what you need to do, which areas you need to clean. And because I do this work for free, first of all, not many people contact me. It's only those that actually want to change, that feel the love in my guidance. And I see all these different groups and people, and they take money for healing, they take money for clairvoyance, they take money for all kind of. I use God in my work, and I see them burn out, take a rest, come back, start again, burn out, take a rest, come back, start again. And I don't know why people contact those people that take money for their work more than they contact me. Maybe it's because they don't have a belief in that this can be done for free, and they more believe that if they have to pay for it, it makes, I don't know why, but it's gonna change. When I look at Jesus and all the holy people, they never asked for money for their work. They found other ways to make money than God's word, to be a tool for making the world a better place. And I love this way I look at it, because I actually keep all the energy vampires. To those of you that don't know what an energy vampire is, an energy vampire is somebody that wants what you have. The way you look, the way you smile, the way you handle things. They want all these things. They don't want to fight for it. They don't want to do the work. They just want one solution for the problem. And there isn't one solution for the problem, because there are 1,000 reasons for you are where you are, and there are 1,000 things you need to change. So I don't have a magic pill that will help you. I don't. But I can teach you what I feel is right, what I acknowledge, what I invited into my life. Oh, I have to change to the sun again, because this is getting cold in the shadow. I think this is the first summer day in Denmark, really a summer day. I know there are more tools, and I will write those tools in the description of the video, because I can't remember them right now. When I start talking and I have an agenda, then I know this is what this video is going to be about. The video is going to be about so much more, but I actually like that, because this is what's called letting yourself being used as a tool for a better world, letting yourself being guided, letting go of your ego. I really hope that you catch my drift, I think it's called in English. You understand me? I'm not here to make people sad. I'm not here to step on your toes. I'm not here to tell you I'm better than you, because I'm no better than nobody. I'm just a human being that have realized some things, that live a life that makes me who I am, and the work I do every day, my spiritual practice, keeps me there. It makes me strong, so I can take all these hits from darkness. You have to understand, darkness' job is to turn out the light. And nothing can turn out my light. Nothing. If I die, I just come back again and continue. I believe in reincarnation. I believe it so badly. I remember I went to 4 or 5, what do they call those that helps you read your past life regression therapist, I don't know the word. I went to them, and they all came up with the same answer. I don't get any input, I don't get any answers. You're not allowed to see where you were before you came here. And I just smiled and I said, I know that. I just wanted you to realize that. Because I actually know, I feel deep in my heart that the life I had before this was in a place on a planet where everything was okay. There was nothing of this, sorry for my language, shit going on, nothing of this darkness, nothing of this materialism and egoism and lying, stealing. There was nothing of that. It was all light. I know how things can be, and that is what I'm an example of. And I take no shit, trust me, I take no shit. When people try to manipulate with me, I say, you cannot manipulate with me. It is not possible. And I lose respect for you. And for example, when people, they start diminishing me, putting me down in some way, I say, I'm sorry you're suffering from a low self-esteem, but putting me down only shows you're a coward. You lose your own self-respect and the love for yourself. How can others respect you if you don't respect yourself? I give them the truth, and it pisses people off. They get so angry because they're not ready for the truth. Whenever I get attacked on Facebook for one of my posts, I block people. And I remember in the beginning when I had Facebook, I had about every 2 years I unblock everybody. In the first 2 years, I had about 50,000 people I had blocked. I think it's 12 years since I started using Facebook, years ago. And it has dramatically lowered that number of blocking. The last time I unblocked people, there were about 2,500. So this is a good sign that people are waking up. You have to understand, people doesn't change until they are tired of their own behavior. They have to be tired of their own behavior. They have to had enough. They have to reach rock bottom. Yeah. I'll stop for now. I wish you all a great summer. Take care of your dear ones and understand that you don't need to be with your family if your family is destructive. You don't need to surround yourself with things that hurt you. You don't need to. You can choose not to, for your own sake, for your own development, for your own evolution. And the good thing about actually being a good example is that people will follow. They will follow, eventually. But they have to realize it themselves that what they're doing is not good. So, take care, people. I love you. I love all men on earth. I'll always love you. So, until next time, peace, love, share, and care. I'm out. Bye.